Fire breaks out at a summit meant to save the planet from burning. A deputy chief minister hints at stepping aside, and suddenly MLAs are rushing to Delhi. Washington greenlights missiles and artillery for India. Australia and India are building something big in the Indo-Pacific. And Trump's peace plan for Ukraine, well, it's on paper now, and it's controversial. Let's get into it. Good morning. Welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint. I'm your host, Nelson John. This is your smart daily briefing on what matters. We cut through the noise so you start your day informed and ahead. It's Friday, November 21st. Let's get started. Australia's Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, recently called the India-Australia partnership never more consequential. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar echoed that sentiment, noting that democracies carry greater responsibility in today's complex geopolitical situation. So what's actually happening between these two countries? The relationship has moved well beyond handshakes and joint statements. Since 2020, when both sides upgraded to a comprehensive strategic partnership, cooperation has expanded across defense, trade and technology. On the military front, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's visit to Australia in October 2025 delivered concrete outcomes. Now, both countries have arrangements for mutual logistics support at military bases, air-to-air refueling between their air force, and submarine rescue coordination. Joint exercises like Oz Index and Malabar have grown more complex. The Quad, which brings together India, Australia, the US and Japan, has become a key platform for both nations to coordinate on maritime security and supply chain resilience. Trade is growing too. After the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement that kicked in during 2022, India became Australia's seventh largest trading partner. Indian exports to Australia jumped 14% in 2023-24 fiscal year. Negotiations are underway for a more ambitious deal. There is also a human dimension. The Indian diaspora is now the fastest growing migrant community in Australia, creating what diplomats call a living bridge between both societies. Challenges, however, remain. India's preference for strategic autonomy sometimes clashes with Australia's alliance-based approach. But both sides appear committed to making this work. A fire broke out at the UN climate conference in Belém, Brazil yesterday, forcing thousands to evacuate and suspend critical negotiations for over 6 hours. The blaze started around 2 p.m. local time at the East African Community stand inside the Africa Pavilion. This happened in the Blue Zone, the restricted heart of the summit where world leaders and delegates hammered out climate agreements. Firefighters brought it under control in about 6 minutes. Here's where it gets concerning. Videos on social media showed chaotic scenes, people running, confusion everywhere. New Zealand delegate Ciara Sherwood O'Regan reported that there were no clear alarm or official announcement on screens. Many attendees didn't know if they were witnessing a protest or an actual emergency. Worth noting, the UN had flagged safety concerns about the venue, including faulty doors, just a week earlier. Brazil's health ministry says 21 people received medical care, mostly for smoke inhalation and anxiety. No burns, no fatalities. The timing couldn't have been worse. This was the second to last scheduled day. Delegates were deep in heated talks over two major issues: finalizing the summit's agreement text and debating Brazil's proposal for a global roadmap to transition away from fossil fuels. The roadmap had about 80 countries backing it, but faced strong pushback from oil-producing nations. 6 lost hours at this stage puts enormous pressure on already tight deadlines. And then came the misinformation. Some social media accounts falsely claimed the fire started at the Chinese pavilion and was somehow connected to a controversial dragon statue China had gifted Brazil. The statue had drawn criticism from religious groups. None of these were true. The fire was at the Africa Pavilion and had no connection to China or the artwork. The Blue Zone reopened at 8:40 p.m. The affected area remained cordoned off for the rest of the conference. A political drama is unfolding in Karnataka. MLAs loyal to Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar have reportedly flown to Delhi to meet the Congress High Command. According to news agency PTI, Minister N. Chaluvaraya Swamy and 3 legislators made the trip, with about 12 more expected to follow today. What triggered this? On Wednesday, DK Shivkumar dropped a hint that caught everyone's attention. He suggested that he might step down as Karnataka's Congress chief, a post he's held for nearly 6 years. Others should be given an opportunity, he said, though he added that he'd remain in a leadership role. The timing here is significant. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah had just completed 2.5 years in office. When Congress swept Karnataka in 2023, both leaders were eyeing the top job. Siddaramaiah got it. Shivkumar became his deputy. At the time, reports suggested a possible rotational agreement where Shivkumar would take over midway through the term. The party never officially confirmed this. Siddaramaiah isn't entertaining the speculation. Speaking in Chamarajnagar on Thursday, he called the debate unnecessary and said his power is secure. He insisted that only discussions on the table is a cabinet reshuffle, not a change in leadership. Whether this Delhi trip produces any outcomes or simply adds pressure remains to be seen. The U.S. State Department has approved a $93 million arms sale to India. The package includes Excalibur precision artillery munition and Javelin anti-tank missile systems. The Excalibur deal is worth about $47 million and covers 216 projectiles. These are fired from M777 howitzers, the same guns that India used during Operation Sindoor against Pakistan in May following the Pahalgam attack. The Javelin package, valued at $45.7 million, includes 100 missiles and 25 command launch units. This approval comes weeks after India and the US signed a 10-year defense partnership framework. It also arrives as India navigates a tricky balance between deepening ties with Washington and maintaining its relationship with Moscow. President Trump recently hinted at reducing tariffs on Indian goods, citing India's reduced purchases of oil from Russia. A draft proposal for ending the Ukraine war has emerged, and it asks Kyiv to make significant concessions. The Associated Press obtained the document on Thursday. Under the plan, Russia would keep all of the eastern Donbas region, even though Ukraine still controls about 14% of it. Ukraine would be barred from joining NATO, and the alliance itself would be blocked from future expansion. Moscow would also get a path back to the G8 and have sanctions lifted. In return, Russia would commit to no future attacks. About $100 billion in frozen assets, Russian assets, would go towards rebuilding Ukraine. State Secretary Mark Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff have been working on this for a month with inputs from both sides. President Zelensky discussed the proposal with a U.S. representative on Thursday. The catch here is handing over territory which is unconstitutional under Ukrainian law, and Zelensky has repeatedly ruled it out. That's all for today. Thank you for joining me here on Top of the Morning. See you next week.